Hey, Ty here, so welcome to the VR Tech channel. So DPVR sent over their E4, their latest PCVR headset running on the Steam VR platform. And I was very curious about this one for two main reasons. The first one is that we don't see many PCVR headsets lately. Everything has to go standalone for some reason. And the second big thing is that this shares pretty much the same screen of the Quest 2. What's the difference though? We're not streaming content over there, but we're getting it directly with the display port at its full 120 Hz. So yeah, this is pretty much what the Quest 2 will look if we had the full PCVR support. So let's discover it together in this video. Let's get into it. And let's start pretty briefly with the unboxing. And the box itself is pretty organized with the headset and the controllers right in front of you. Let's put them on the side a second and let's start with the little box over there where we can actually find the cable, because yes, this is gonna use the cable to use PCVR games. And with the cable, with the integrated breakout box, you're also gonna find the power supply. Getting to the headset, this is pretty light because we don't have any processor inside or stuff like that, and there's a long gone feature that is finally back in a consumer headset, and that's the flip up function for the visor. So yeah, there's no buttons around, just a dial on the back to open and close the Halo style design, and the visor itself with the 4 cameras on the front for the tracking. As you can see here, we have Fresnel lenses that actually don't move because the IPD is actually fixed in place physically. You can just change it by software. It has integrated audio directly in the strap, and weirdly enough, it has actually another breakout box very close to the headset itself. Over there we also have a 2.5mm headphone jack. Last thing you're gonna find in the box are actually the 2 controllers, very similar to the Oculus controller or every controller out there right now, and with the rings on top for the tracking to actually be seen from the 4 cameras in front of the headset. So to sum it up, in the box you're gonna find the headset itself, the 2 controllers left and right, the cable, and the power supply. Nowhere to be seen are actually the batteries. Weirdly enough, there's a space over there for batteries, I believe, but they weren't there in my unit. And here we are with the DPVR E4. But let's go piece by piece and let's start talking about comfort. Well, this is a Halo style design, as we said before, very similar to the PSVR. The only difference here is that we have a strap on top to actually balance much better the weight and make it more comfortable for long time sessions. And as we said, a feature that I missed from the old Microsoft mixed reality headsets is actually the flip up screen. So you're gonna be able to just get in and out in a matter of seconds. But if you want, we still have the cameras for the pass-through. Choices. The paddings all around are very squishy and comfortable, I gotta say. Also, it's a very good that the headset, it's very light. And the other particular thing is that as the PSVR, we don't actually have an actual face cushion, but this is just a piece of rubber to actually take out all the light bleeding. So with this, you don't have any face pressure. Everything is gonna be on your forehead, and being pretty light, it's completely fine, let's say. Talking about the design, again, is very simple. In the front, we have this DVD style faceplate that is pretty cool to my eyes, and also a little light here that can change colors or brightness in base of the game you're playing, or, well, there are some settings in the software you're gonna see later. Overall, though, I have to say that it's a very comfortable device to wear, but something that really bugs me a lot is the breakout box. That is gonna dangle around the entire time, so I don't really understand why they didn't make it part of the back strap directly. Great opportunity to balance even better the device. In my case, I had the cable going back and forth on the top strap, as you can see, to have it as close as possible to the headset, but I'm really considering just put some double tape and stick it over here to have a better cable management and at the same time the headphone jack in reach. Yeah, I think it will work. But overall, beside this thing that I don't understand at all, why 2 breakout boxes? No sense. I have to say that the headset is very comfortable indeed. For sure a pass. And something that I wasn't expecting to be very comfortable is actually the IPD adjustment. So let's start talking about visuals. Because here the lens position is completely fixed, so you're not going to be able to move the lenses left and right. We're also talking about Fresnel lenses, so usually they weren't the greatest when it comes to sweet spot or where to sit in the lens to have the best visual clarity possible. Now, DPVR advertises an IPD range from 54 to 73 millimeters. That is very, very good indeed. Unfortunately though, I'm not able to test every single IPD settings because I'm 66.4, and I got pretty lucky because my eyes sit pretty much in the middle, so I get no eye strain and the clarity is very good. I'm actually impressed by the quality of these Fresnel lenses over here. Of course though, your mileage may vary because, you know, we all have different eyes. Talking about the screen though, this is the same LCD display that we find on the Quest 2, at least in terms of refresh rate, in terms of resolution, and in terms of like colors and stuff. They look pretty much the same, and that's super interesting. So we're talking about a single LCD display with a resolution of 3664 by 1920. With the lenses you can notice some chromatic aberration on the edges, but that's about it. And as we said, the sweet spot is pretty wide, so that's good. I wasn't expecting much here, but to be honest, the clarity and the visuals are so much better than the Quest 2 with the same panel, because yeah, we're talking about, again, a PCVR headset, so that means that we get the full resolution all the time through the cable, and not through a streaming service like it could be Link or Virtual Desktop. You know, as much as wireless streaming might be good, with a standalone headset, you always are gonna have some color bending, and also you're gonna lose some details in the distance. Yeah, the latest update on Virtual Desktop makes things much better, but at the same time we're still streaming something, encoding and decoding. Over here instead we get the full resolution, full clarity, full refresh rate all the time, and when you are in game the clarity is completely on another level. You still have the limit of the resolution, that of course for the screen it is what it is. There's still some screen door effect noticeable, but again, no color bending and full resolution. Better than expected. But now let's talk about the controllers. The controllers are very similar to the one of the Oculus Quest, as you can tell. The only difference is that the thumbstick is a bit shorter in travel, and it's very similar to the one to the Nintendo Switch. I mean, it even has the same design in front, and we have, as all the other headsets, an A and B button and X and Y on the other side, a start button on the left, and the SteamVR button, DPVR button on the right. By the way, in software there's the possibility to use the DPVR button clicking twice to actually have the see-through, so you know, the pass-through mode over there as well. Or if you keep pressing on both the start button and the DPVR button, you can actually recenter your position in space, and that's actually pretty useful if you use in simulators without having to go through the SteamVR option. The controller is pretty comfortable and light. They don't feel premium by any means, but they get their job done. Also in terms of tracking, because this headset actually uses the inside-out tracking like pretty much every other headset out there right now, with the 4 cameras in the front to track the position of the head, and of course of the controllers that use those rings with some IR sensors to actually be picked up in space. I have to say that the tracking is pretty good. You can play everything without any problem, even getting pretty close to the headset. Not to touch him, but pretty close. So I didn't have any problems actually aiming in games. The only thing, that is some smoothing going on for the head and the controllers, so it doesn't feel completely one-to-one. At least it's not shaky like we saw a bit on the Pico 4, but I think they could tune it down just a bit to make it better for motion sickness, I guess. And doing that, 120 Hz will feel even more responsive than how they feel right now. And to play games, and talking about the software, this will run on SteamVR. It's not gonna run directly, it's not gonna be recognized right away when you connect it, but you're gonna have to install the DPVR software. That is very easy to install, is straightforward, and this software has some useful options like the Guardian system, of course, to have the tracking of your environment where you play in, the software IPD adjustment so you can get the image as best as possible for your IPD, of course, and one of my favorite gimmicky things, that is the control for the light in the front, this little strip that seems a lot like the Knight Rider kit. From there you can manually change the colors or even put it to react with the music or the sound in games. Useful? No. Cool? Yes. As we said though, the software is very easy to use and will disappear very quickly, because when you are in game in SteamVR you're not even gonna notice it. Because bear in mind that you need SteamVR to actually use it. One little detail that I don't know if they can fix when this gets hot, staying on for some time, the fan inside goes on. It's pretty silent, but not completely. But if you actually move the headset, you can hear it. Having some friction around. With all of this said though, let's talk about the gaming experience. Well, as we said, the tracking is pretty good, the resolution is pretty good, and you get the full color gamut and also the full resolution from the game itself. You're using SteamVR, so all the games run smoothly without any problem. And the nice thing over here, that even if you have the same resolution of the Quest 2, you can actually get more super sampling out of it using the same GPU headroom, because, well, as we said, you don't have the decoding and decoding that the GPU has to do to run a standalone headset with PCVR. So you can actually cramp up the resolution even more and have something that is much clearer than what you would expect using the same power. Guess what? That's the upside of PCVR. I feel like a PCVR fanboy. So yeah, playing with it is completely fine and didn't find any problem, and because of this breakout box it can get in a way a bit, I prefer to use it for simulators. And now let's talk about availability and price. The DPVR E4 is available for $599 in the US, and you can get it with the 8% discount with the link down in the description below. But if you wait just a bit for Amazon Prime Day, well, you're gonna find a new offer because it's gonna go for $479. So how is the E4 at the end of the day? Well, this is not the best headset out there by any means, but to be honest, it's much better than what I was expecting. I got pretty lucky with the IPD adjustment that it's kind of not very acceptable nowadays to don't have lenses that actually moves left or right to get the right view for every person. But overall I was pretty impressed with the clarity of the lenses and the screen using the full resolution on a PCVR basis. While the price might make it a bit harder than suggest, because there is the Quest 2, the Pico 4, and there's gonna be the Quest 3 arriving to the market very soon. At the same time though, this doesn't really compete with those, but it feels more like a Rift as kind of successor with higher resolution, much higher refresh rate from 80 to 120 Hz, a flip-up display, better build quality, and SteamVR. I'm very curious to see where DPVR will go from here, and if there's one lesson to learn, well, this breakout box has to go. Anyway guys, let me know what you think about it in the comment below, and as always, if you liked the video, like, if you didn't like the video, dislike, subscribe to the channel for more VR tech. If you really love the channel, there's the join button on there, later on further, also the Patreon. Thanks to all the patrons who join the channel, of course, and I see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.